What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is February 5th of 2021. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to spend some time to dive straight into the market here, talking about our theory here that Bitcoin can hit up to $50,000 by the end of this month, and outside of that as well, diving straight into altcoin markets to talk about the current plays that we're watching or holding at the moment that are really starting to lead against the market. So we've got lots of things to discuss right after our quick sponsor. And our sponsor for today's episode is TaxBit. The 2020 tax season is here. Calculating taxes on cryptocurrency is complex and time-consuming, but TaxBit has made it easy by automating the entire process. Link your exchanges and wallets to seamlessly pull your transactions through their tax engine and auto-generate your tax forms. Aside from automating taxes, TaxBit provides crypto enthusiasts real-time portfolio tracking and tax optimization visibility so that you can make tax optimization crypto trades throughout the year. If you're looking to stay IRS compliant, have real-time portfolio visibility, and save money on cryptocurrency taxes, then TaxBit is the platform for you. Check out the link down below in the description for more information. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and dive straight into the discussion here today, guys. I want to first talk a little bit about what we had discussed about Bitcoin back a few videos ago, where we talked about the theory of the concept of Bitcoin going to $50,000 throughout the month of February. I made a bit of a mistake. I had said by February, and we got some funny comments saying that, like, oh, it's February, where's my 50K Bitcoin? So if you guys get what I mean, by the end of this month or stepping into the first week of March, generally speaking, is when we could possibly expect for Bitcoin to hit 50K. And I know that that seems like an overwhelmingly high price target, especially with all the optimism that's been going on in the market. But I gotta be fair with you guys, so long as we continue this trajectory, the more and more we get closer to passing these previous relative highs here and the all-time highs we actually set on January 8th of 2021, that is going to become more and more of a reality. At that point, when you start to get above all-time high territory, you have no other previous resistance. And we're really not that far away from there, just a couple $1,000s for Bitcoin. And it's crazy to say that that's really not that much in the sense of percentage gains. In fact, we got exactly what we wanted to see here on the technical pattern the other day. We had a clear double bottom here, in fact, slightly higher low than what we set back here in late January. And outside of that as well, even though we had faced some resistance here, which was a previous resistance range in the past and previous support in the past for Bitcoin, we were able to make this previous line of resistance support, break above that line of resistance, and continue the trend here. And I will say the one thing I want to see more of is I want to see more buy-side volume. I know we're just looking at Bitstamp here, but if you look at BLX broadly speaking, there isn't a massive amount of buy-side volume here in this case. And we do know a lot of that volume is happening off exchanges, as there are companies like Grayscale and institutional companies coming in buying large sums, in this case, and taking Bitcoin off the spot markets. But at the same time, I would love to see more volume there, which will lead, again, towards that price action we need to see to get back above those all-time highs and continue the rest of this rally here. I think it's going to be a slow, steady process, and going into the tail end of the month here, we're really going to see a pop up here to test that big even level of 50K. I will say, though, guys, to be cautious when we get there, because as we get towards the close of the month, in that case, I think very much soon after we have a nice solid green candle peaking out at that big even range, that's when we could really face a significant pullback or a potential correction of 30-40% in the market, something of that sort like we've seen in the past, especially with the over optimism that's already been coming into the market. Now, second off as well, just wanted to again take a look at that perspective as we're discussing it. Again, I know there's a lot of people who will debate about, for example, the 4-year cycle theory, where you're basically talking about from top to top in this case for markets, or bottom to bottom. It depends on who you talk to. But generally speaking, overall, if you're using the 4-year cycle, if you're using the expanding cycle theory like we like to follow from bottom to top for each cycle, the general thing that we can see here is that no matter how you go about approaching it, it would still be sometime in late 2021 that we're going to be seeing some kind of peak in the market towards at least hitting that point of resistance, according to history here, taking into account the logarithmic curves of resistance and support. Now, taking that into mind, though, that's my major point here that I want to make, is that no matter which theory you stand by, in this case, for how long it's going to take until we get to that ultimate peak of the market, either one could be disproven wrong in this cycle. We could differ this time around. The major thing, though, I want to say is that no matter which one you choose, we are still well beyond where we probably should be according to the line of resistance. So it might be that this line in this cycle is either going to become irrelevant. History hasn't pointed to that yet. Or in this case, we're probably going to get to that big even level at 50K here relatively soon in the month of February. And then afterwards, have a bit of a cool down in the market, a little bit of sideways price action or pullback and correction. And from there, what we can expect is some liquidity circulates out. It's probably the later stage of the altcoin cycle where a lot of euphoria is on the market as capital starts to circulate, all that new value starts to circulate. When Bitcoin goes, it adds an additional 13K from its price now at this case, it's going to have a lot more liquidity for altcoins in this case to add value in the market and to flow that value from Bitcoin's market cap to alternative cryptocurrencies. But afterwards, a general pullback in not only Bitcoin, but altcoins going into, maybe late March, April, something of that sort. That's what I would expect if we get up to 50K, where some of that euphoria is going to cool down, and we're really going to have to wait till that next leg up here in the market, setting in a higher significant low above the previous all-time highs here in 2017. That's going to be the thing that solidifies confidence in Bitcoin in this case on the rest of the cycle, as it always does in previous market cycles for Bitcoin and other assets. But I have to say here again, to that point, I think altcoins, again, though they've made some huge triumphant moves here over the last couple of weeks, it's still the early stage of the cycle. We've only been about halfway through the market dominance gain that we're expecting here for this cycle. We're going to be going from around 38.4% market dominance for altcoins, where we're at right now, all the way up here to 48 to 49%, testing towards that previous resistance and support mark back here in the past. So again, I just would say to people who are, looking at their favorite altcoins or looking at plays across the market thinking, oh my gosh, am I buying at too high of a price and stuff? I missed out on this. I would say right now, I think there's a good chance that we still got room to grow. Again, that line, guys, is not a guarantee. It's what we're theorizing from history here, as we've seen the points of resistance have gotten higher and higher, and they've been building this expanding channel here between the level of support and the point of resistance. I think that there's a very good chance we can continue to climb there. There will be, as I indicate here, just to keep in mind, there will be some ups and downs here, similar to how there were some sideways moments or slowdowns on the previous cycles. But above all, we can generally hope that over the next coming weeks, next few months, generally speaking, we'll be able to continue riding this altcoin wave. There's going to be more and more excitement coming into DeFi as people are starting to catch up and realize all the fundamental value that's being built in this market, which we've been keeping an eye on for a long period of time. And now we're kind of finally vindicated here in a sense. Like we've been proven right in this case overall about what we've been, I don't know if vindication is the right term, but it's basically we've stuck to this vision for a long period of time. And from the startup that I've been building at Digifox to the investments that I've made to the DeFi space when we heavily talked about it during the summer of 2020, it's all coming back full circle here. Now we've got some plays here that are starting to play a big role in this gain of market dominance. One of them is Ampleforth. Something we wrote about within the newsletter is a really interesting pattern here with Ampleforth, and this is the kind of stuff you can get from the Dash report. So if you guys are interested, you can check out the link down below in the description. It's a good way to support the channel. But this is the kind of technical analysis that we like to do. We like to look at broad time frames, and in the case of some of these altcoins, it can really only be a couple of months to about a year or so. But generally speaking, we've got a really nice technical buildup here that was made throughout 2020, and that was one of the top DeFi performers, Ampleforth or Ample, one of the rebasing or elastic supply cryptocurrencies. So the great thing about Ampleforth here overall is its technical pattern that it built. It had its initial phase here, its first wave of its bull cycle here from its lows. And bear in mind, this is on the logarithmic chart, and we're looking at its market cap. Just keep that in mind, because you have to do that for elastic supply cryptocurrencies, where their supply can go up or down over time. We have the descending channel here, almost a bull flag, if you will, and then along with that, the follow through, the mass move on the cycle. Well, we've had the first phase here in this case, the secondary phase here, that consolidation, the initial bull cycle here, and now we're starting to play into the early stages of phase 3, just like we saw over here. Now, are we going to see these type of multiples? No, I don't think we're going to see that. But it's very realistic to assume that Ampleforth here could go towards being $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion cryptocurrency. At this rate, it's very, very reasonable. And the multiples are much lower than what we had back here, going from this point of breaking out of the channel, building that new support range on resistance, and then climbing up to new all-time highs. So that's what we're watching for here. Now, another play again that I would say to keep an eye on in this case is Benchmark Protocol. This is a project that, as I mentioned to you all, I recently came on as an advisor and stuff. They're one of the smaller cap rebasing currencies, one of the only contesters that I think actually has a reasonable chance to compete with Ampleforth. And the reason why in this case is because unlike Ampleforth, which just tries to peg itself to the dollar or an inflation adjusted dollar from 2018, at the same time, in this case, in regards to benchmark, they're utilizing things such as the SDR as their peg, and for rebasing, they're utilizing volatility measures in the market like the VIX in order to determine whether or not to rebase and provide more of the native currency, in this case, to its holders, in order to combat volatile moments as well as reduce supply when there's not volatility, when we're below our historic means. So overall, it's been doing phenomenal. We again had talked about this on the Dash report, and it's been getting a lot of explosive coverage here over the last couple of days as people are starting to realize here that A, DeFi is the trend, and second off, outside of that as well, that rebasing currencies are here to stay. Again, the concept takes a little while to get, as we tried to explain it well with Ampleforth in the top 10 altcoin video, but all in all, these cryptocurrencies are doing phenomenally well in the grand scheme of DeFi. Now, one play that I know you guys are curious maybe to hear about as well, as we did do a video specifically on it, and that's Uniswap or Unitoken. A lot of people are curious about, am I still sticking to my guns about the $50 price target? And I am. I'm still confident here that we're going to be getting somewhere near around $50. And to be honest, guys, sometimes we never hit the target exactly. We might go up to $48 or $45, or maybe even go higher, maybe go $52, right? But the major thing we want to focus on here is the trend. And on the logarithmic chart, it's been very clear here. We had a large mean away from the line of support here, and then we started to consolidate along this logarithmic line of support, and now again we had started to break away as optimism came in. And eventually, I think we're going to get a pop here very, very soon here, where the overall price is going to start moving higher yet again here. Now this is the tether chart here, right? And on the logarithmic chart, we just got above our all-time highs back a couple of days ago. And along with that as well for the Bitcoin chart, what I think we're doing is we're, after rising above this kind of relative close here, again, you can look at the wicks here, but a lot of people look for the kind of like daily close, and it was around this range for the peak here. We've come down and made that new support, and now it's a matter of going into the end of the month, in this case, as we talked about, going into the end of February or the early part of March. That's when we can expect our $50 price target. And it would line up with where Bitcoin's valuation is right now. As we can see here, around 55,000 sats going up here towards around, in this case, around 110,000 sats. It's not a hard ask. It's basically a doubling against Bitcoin here. And again, that would lead us close towards our $50 price target, considering that Bitcoin is going to be appreciating a bit more. So that's generally it, guys, in the sense of the coins I wanted to talk about today. Above all, the key thing here is to focus on DeFi. Just look at the market here over the last 24 hours and the last 7 days of performance. The whole broad DeFi space as a whole, except for a few players down here, many of which had already been overextended or had rallied really well over the last few days, are all in the green in double-digit territory for the most part. And over the last 7 days, don't even get me started here, we've got a lot of plays in triple-digit territory that have gone over doubling their original valuation, where double-digit gains in this case are the norm. So again, it's not about fixating on getting in at the absolute discount, right? It's about being able to hopefully find those plays early on that you can get in when no one's talking about it and then ride the wave. And if you can't do that, if you find yourself too late and you still see that there's a lot of great price potential, getting in and riding that wave. Again, this market is so small, guys, comparative to where it's going to head in the next couple of months to the next few years. We have, again, that prediction here that Bitcoin's going to be somewhere in the price range of 100,000 to 200,000 by the end of the cycle. We've stuck to our guns on that. And the market has been more optimistic than what we even assumed would happen. And considering that higher Bitcoin price target is still, plausible, we have to consider that altcoin valuations are going to come up just as equally by the end of the cycle, which is going to mean that there is going to be trillions of dollars of wealth in the altcoin space. The only question is, will you be there to pick the right plays on the market that will pay out like that? Will pay out those kind of gains? And I'll be honest, guys, it's not that difficult. It's a matter of being disciplined and being able, during those altcoin cycles, to not buy at the absolute peak, to ride the majority of the cycle, be able to take profits when necessary. And again, always keeping in mind about that longer term time frame. Don't always chase every single play on the market. focus on the fundamental plays that are getting real use, real adoption in the space, have an actual functioning platform in the DeFi ecosystem, and are seeing increased amounts of total value locked up. Those are some of the key things we want to look for here. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. I appreciate you all joining in as I ramble, as I tend to do here on the channel. If you guys like this video, please consider dropping a like, consider leaving a comment as well. And if there's anything you want to see here on the channel, please feel free to leave a comment down below in the description. I'd love to hear from you guys. That being said, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.